И разборок вообще нереальный был.
Хорошо, еще один. Пошли, кто следующий был?
Сегодня были последние тяжелые спарринги у Ислама. Очень хорошо поработал. Хорошо себя чувствует. И по весу тоже идет по программе, по расписанию. Хорошие тренинги были. Хорошие спарринги были. Тяжелые удары.
UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev is adopting a meticulous approach to his training camp as he prepares to face Irish challenger Ian Machado Garry. With fight night looming, Makhachev is leaving no stone unturned, scrutinizing every aspect of his game and fine-tuning his skills. The intensity of his preparation underscores the significance he's placing on this matchup, which many believe will be one of his most technically demanding title defenses to date.
Очень многие так с недооценкой относятся к красным паре. Я сам лично выступал. Проиграл. 3 раунда, да? 5 раунд, да? Больше 10 минут провел. Я примерно знаю, в чем он хорош, где у него плюсы, где у него минусы. Мы очень много над этим работаем.
To clarify the coaching structure and division of responsibilities, Ali Abdelaziz sheds light on the inner workings of the team. Although he officially holds the title of head coach at the Dagestan facility, he reveals that someone else plays a more hands-on role in Islam Makhachev's daily routine. This individual is the constant presence, overseeing the programming, making adjustments, and essentially acting as the operational backbone of the entire training operation, providing daily support and guidance to Makhachev.
MashaAllah, look amazing. Habib come here, change the energy of the whole camp. It become like, it's like the army here, it's military. Everybody on time, everybody training good. We having fun, enjoy. My brother Asad just come here today, you know. Now the team is complete. And 6 more days, and gonna be still undefeated, undisputed, pound for pound king, Islam Makhachev. That's it, you know. Like I said, Habib father have a dream, become through Habib, Islam carrying a legacy, and so many young guys coming, Omar, Usman, Sagid, so many guys, Gaji, so many guys.
As the fight approaches, the focus within Islam Makhachev's camp has shifted from intense volume training to a phase emphasizing precision, repetition, and situational drilling. The coaching staff is now concentrating on scenarios and positions likely to arise during the actual bout, rather than pushing Makhachev through exhausting full-throttle sessions that could lead to overtraining or burnout. The majority of the rigorous conditioning work was completed earlier in the training cycle, notably during a challenging mountain training block that established a strong foundation for his cardio and durability. With this base in place, the team is confident that all that remains is to fine-tune Makhachev's skills, essentially sharpening the blade for the upcoming fight.
Сложного нету на тренировках. Делаем много отработок, много возни с позицией, то, что у нас будет в бою. Потому что уже смысла нету делать тяжелые тренировки. Это тебе уже не поможет. Надо вспоминать свои такие заготовки и больше их отрабатывать. То, что мы и делаем сегодня, в понедельник, всю тренировку мы делали отработки. Осталось подогнать вес, и думаю, мы готовы еще.
Первая подготовка у нас была в горах Кисловодска, там сделали очень хороший сбор на офф.
Analyzing the upcoming fight, Craig suggests that Garry has a legitimate chance of defeating Makhachev, and he's keen to emphasize that despite past criticisms, he holds Makhachev's technical grappling skills in high regard, acknowledging the dangers he poses on the mat. However, Craig's concern lies with a particular takedown in Makhachev's arsenal, which he believes could be a game changer if Garry doesn't have an effective counter in place.
You know, I actually do. I actually do think he has a very good chance at beating Islam. I remember watching, so what Islam does really, obviously does a bunch of things incredibly well. Like I slander him at any chance I get, but truly appreciate every ounce of technique he does. And one of his most beautiful takedowns is a single leg, where a guy digs an underhook and he turns it into a clubbing takedown. And now Shavkat tried that exact move on Ian Garry, and Ian Garry countered it and ended up on Shavkat's back. So I think an open space takedown, Islam's go-to. Ian Garry does have a very good arm.
Offering his own assessment of the matchup, Jon Jones has backed Islam Makhachev to emerge victorious against Ian Garry at UFC 330. Jones identifies wrestling as Makhachev's most significant technical advantage in this fight, believing it will ultimately decide the outcome. Beyond the skill comparison, Jones also emphasizes the quality of Makhachev's coaching staff and the grounding influence of his religious faith. He suggests that this combination of elite preparation, mental clarity, and spiritual discipline truly distinguishes Makhachev from the majority of fighters competing at the highest level.
Fight against Ian Garry next, right? I assume that Islam's going to win that one just because of his wrestling pedigree. You know, to be able to dictate if the fight's going to be standing or on the ground, it's a great gift. Another guy with a strong team behind him, strong faith. I'm not rooting for anyone in that fight because I don't know either one of those guys on the personal level, but I'm assuming that Islam's going to win.
On the other side, Garry is filled with conviction as he heads into the fight, openly stating his goal to dominate Islam Makhachev and claim the top spot as the world's #1 pound-for-pound fighter. This bold declaration showcases not only his faith in his own skills, but also his drive to prove himself on the biggest stage. Despite his confidence, Garry is careful not to cross into arrogance, expressing genuine respect for Islam Makhachev's achievements in the UFC and acknowledging the strength of his opponent's resume. As he prepares to face Makhachev on August 15th, Garry is focused on taking what his opponent currently holds, while still maintaining a level of admiration for Makhachev's accomplishments.
Perfect champion you wanted to face, given what he's achieved, as well as giving you the opportunity to knock off the pound-for-pound #1 off his pedestal.
Listen, I have nothing but love and respect for Islam Makhachev, and the body of work that he's done in the UFC is unbelievable. But make no mistake about it, when I fight Islam Makhachev on August 15th, I'm going to beat the #1 pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. I'm going to beat the 2-weight world champion. I'm going to dismantle him. And when I do that, there is no doubts. It's undeniable. I will be the...
Entering the discussion around a potential Islam Makhachev versus Garry bout, Chad Mendes weighed in on the buzz. Mendes gave credit to Garry, acknowledging him as a difficult and unorthodox striker who presents unique challenges on the feet and can frustrate opponents. However, Mendes was firm in his belief that Garry's striking advantages would carry little weight once the fight hits the ground. He argued that Garry would find himself in serious trouble and struggling to survive if Islam Makhachev were to secure top position or initiate his grappling game in any meaningful way.
Feel good about it. He's a well-known guy. He's very highly skilled, you know, and I look forward to the challenge, you know. So, yeah, no, Ian Garry, excuse me, if that's who they pick and that's who Islam wants, no problem. Bring him on the plate. No problem. You know, we'll get ready for Ian Garry. So, but he's good. He's good. I was hoping if he gets anybody, it would be. He wanted Kamaru because he thought that was the toughest stylistic challenge for him. So I wanted that because that's what he wanted. And but he was good with Ian Garry, you know, or Topuria too. You know, he wanted a challenge. So those are the three that I know he stated that he wouldn't mind fighting. But again, we don't make those decisions. The UFC gives us a...
Mendes further defends Islam Makhachev's wrestling credentials, addressing any skepticism by highlighting the praise he's received from Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevenson. This endorsement, Mendes suggests, is a testament to Makhachev's elite grappling skills at the highest level of competition. In his final assessment, Mendes reaffirms that Makhachev is the most complete and well-rounded fighter in the division, possessing all the necessary tools to counter whatever his opponent brings, and having the skill set to dominate the fight from start to finish.
Guy for anybody, you know, no matter what style it is, whether it be boxing, kicking, you name it. That's why I've always said he's the most well-rounded fighter of all, you know. I've said that on many occasions, you know. I said he was the most well-rounded fighter in the lightweight division, and people blasted me for that, you know. But he proved my point, you know. He's proven my point every time. He's just a great athlete who basically, He's the easiest for me to manage. I've been with him since 2014, maybe late 2013. And I really haven't put very much work into it.
Henry Cejudo has turned his attention to the broader UFC landscape, boldly declaring welterweight the most complicated and unpredictable division in the entire organization. He argues no other weight class can match its sheer depth of talent and the inherent chaos of navigating the 170-pound rankings. According to Cejudo, this combination of elite contenders and unpredictable outcomes presents a unique challenge, both for the reigning champion defending the belt and for contenders fighting for a title opportunity. The margin for error is razor thin, and a single mistake can derail an entire trajectory.
Right now, Carlos, I mean, obviously the landscape at 170 pounds, it's always been 135 pounds and 170 that I feel like has gotten like the most attention. But right now, it's a bit tricky at 170 pounds because we have, we have the undefeated number 2 contender in Michael Morales, who's in there. Obviously, you got one of the, if not the greatest welterweight of all time in Kamaru Usman that's in there. We have Garry, who a lot of people feel like is the well-deserved fighter who has been really, who has a victory over the number 1 contender, which is you. And then obviously you have the newcomer in Islam Makhachev.
Building on that theme, Carlos Prates discussed how he's learned to embrace the intense pressure of competing in a stacked division. He credits Kamaru Usman with teaching him to reframe pressure, viewing it as an ally rather than a burden. This mental shift has been crucial for Prates, allowing him to thrive in high-stakes situations. When asked about the welterweight title picture, Prates offered his predictions. He expects Garry to face Islam Makhachev first, and he intends to await the victor of that clash. However, he also acknowledged that Vicente Luque remains a significant contender who cannot be overlooked in the conversation for the next title shot.
Being part of this, I always wanted this on my life, be on that moment of I'm kind of guy, Caio Borralho always say one thing, and now I'm learning from him, the pressure is our friend, the pressure is our owner, because if I'm here, feeling the pressure, can imagine how many people want to be on my place, getting my pressure, so it's really nice. I really think Ian gonna fight Makhachev, and then I'm gonna fight the winner, but also we have Morales, and I think Morales is behind me just because on the ranks, just because he didn't put any former.
When questioned about his prediction for the Garry versus Islam Makhachev fight, Prates conceded that Garry is widely considered the underdog. However, he maintained a genuine belief that Garry possesses the technical tools and fight IQ to secure an upset victory, provided everything aligns perfectly on fight night. Prates also acknowledged the bout would be incredibly tough and competitive. He pointed out that Garry's reliance on winning rounds through volume and points, rather than devastating finishes, could complicate his path. Prates suggested that legitimate one-shot knockout power would offer a clearer route to victory, preventing Garry from having to entirely outwork Islam Makhachev across 5 grueling rounds.
Against Makhachev, but I truly believe he have really good skills to beat Makhachev, Of course, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a hard fight. I think if he would the guy knock people out a little bit more, he hurt a little bit more, would be less hard to beat Makhachev, He do a lot of points. He don't hurt people, But I think he have a chance, really good chance, real chance, to be.
From a stylistic perspective, the Barnhill brothers offer their take by recognizing Makhachev as the most complete and well-rounded fighter currently competing in the UFC, but they also make the case that Garry represents a genuinely difficult puzzle for him to solve, due to his physical advantages in height and reach, combined with his disciplined and intelligent approach to fighting. They point specifically to Garry's ability to control range with his jab, and his knack for engaging only when the circumstances favor him, resetting whenever things start to go sideways, as key reasons why they believe he could give Makhachev his toughest test yet at welterweight, even if the champion remains the favorite on paper.
Makes it interesting to me with Islam Makhachev versus Ian Garry. Ian is the right guy to get in there versus Islam. I think that, you know, he's done enough. He has a head-to-head win over Carlos Prates, who in my mind is one step above Michael Morales, just as far as strength of schedule goes. But Ian Garry, aside from the Shavkat fight, has looked perfect, and he hasn't had an easy road to get to the top of the division. So this fight not only reminds me of Conor versus Khabib for the geographical, you know, location of where both of these people come from. I think there is a real beef and a feud between Ireland and Dagestan as far as MMA is.
Circling back to the stylistic breakdown, the Barnhill brothers reaffirm their stance that Islam Makhachev is the most complete fighter in the UFC. However, they argue that Garry's exceptional game planning abilities and high fight IQ propel him into a unique tier of difficulty, one that surpasses many of Makhachev's previous opponents. The brothers highlight Garry's physical frame as a significant factor, making it a genuine challenge to close the distance. They also note his discipline in maintaining a safe distance behind his jab and his reluctance to engage recklessly, traits reminiscent of Georges St. Pierre's fighting style. Garry's tendency to commit only when the conditions are favorable and reset when they're not adds to the complexity of facing him. According to the Barnhill brothers, these factors combined make Garry the toughest matchup for Makhachev in the welterweight division at present.
It is definitely an interesting fight because we know Islam's the most complete fighter in the UFC, but Ian Garry's game planning and fight IQ takes him up a notch as far as difficulty to beat. He's got a frame that's very hard to close distance on, and not only that, his ability to maintain range is really good. He stays behind a jab, he's very intelligent, sort of like Cyril Gane, where he engages on his own terms. If he doesn't like what he sees, he tries to back up and get a fresh start. So Ian Garry is actually probably the toughest opponent for Islam Makhachev at 170 right now, but I think Michael Morales versus Carlos Prates could wind up bringing us the next toughest opponent for sure if those two get.
As the MMA community looks to the future, speculation is growing about Islam Makhachev's potential to make another weight class jump, this time to middleweight, in pursuit of becoming a 3-division champion. This achievement would solidify his legacy as one of the all-time greats. Analysts and fighters point to Makhachev's proven ability to successfully move up in weight, citing his size, skill, and adaptability as key factors. A potential matchup against Sean Strickland is also being discussed, with many believing that Makhachev's wrestling-heavy approach could pose significant problems for Strickland, should he still be holding the middleweight title when a hypothetical fight takes place.
Could throw a wrench into things. Does Islam Makhachev consider going for triple champ status? Because when Khamzat was the champion, it didn't really seem like we'd ever see Islam go up to 185. But then when we saw Strickland beat Khamzat, everybody started to talk about how Islam actually does have a chance to go up and take the belt from Sean Strickland. Now, I know he's got his hands full at 170 for the at least year or year and a half moving forward, but if Sean Strickland's still the champ, or there's somebody else in the division, you know, perhaps Khamzat moves up to 205, he doesn't have to worry about Khamzat. Even though at this point, I don't really know if Islam would lose.
Offering his analysis on the fight, Michael Bisping argues that Garry, boasting an impressive 17-1 professional record, poses a far tougher and more dangerous stylistic challenge than most casual fans, and even some analysts currently acknowledge. Bisping pushes back against the narrative that this will be a straightforward or easy night for Makhachev. He suggests that Garry's specific skill set and physical attributes, particularly his length, reach, and disciplined jab, could create considerably more complications than the general consensus implies. These factors, Bisping notes, could effectively disrupt Makhachev's usual wrestling-centric game plan, provided Garry executes properly.
Right now, this fight for Islam Makhachev may be a lot harder than what people think. Given all of the accolades that Islam Makhachev has, it's easy to just dismiss Ian Garry and say, listen, he's got to just run right through him. Okay, you could send him to Dagestan or Georgia for 20 years and still forget all about it.
Send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
Okay, because Islam Makhachev is the GOAT. He's going to take him down. The man's Irish. They don't wrestle in Ireland, for crying out loud. Well, guess what? He's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's 17-1. He had a very, very close fight with Shavkat.
Analyzing the key factors that make Garry a formidable opponent, Michael Bisping notes that his significant advantages in length, reach, speed, and distance management are crucial assets that should not be overlooked as the fight draws near. Bisping believes that Garry's ability to use his stick and move style, coupled with his composure under pressure, could effectively counter Islam Makhachev's wrestling-heavy approach, allowing Garry to keep the fight in areas where he excels, but only if he can maintain the discipline and focus to stick to his game plan throughout the entire 5-round bout and avoid getting lured into exchanges that play to the champion's strengths.
He can match Islam in terms of jiu-jitsu or submission grappling, okay? But it's the style that Ian Garry has. It is the length and the reach that he has. And it is his ability to silence out the crowd and not give a damn if you people are booing. If everyone in the arena is throwing their popcorn and the drinks and going, boo, this is garbage, because all Ian Garry is doing is dancing around, popping the jab, throwing the right hand, using push kicks to keep Islam away, he won't care, because on paper, or according to the judges, he's winning the fight, and his job is to win the fight and become the welterweight champion.
When evaluating Islam Makhachev's body of work, Daniel Cormier is not mentioned, but rather Michael Bisping acknowledges the undeniable quality of his resume, highlighting signature victories over elite fighters like Charles Oliveira and others as proof of his dominance and completeness during his title reign. However, Bisping notes that Makhachev's opponent, likely referring to a fighter competing against Islam, isn't a one-dimensional striker who will falter when the fight hits the mat. Instead, Bisping argues that this opponent is well-rounded enough to pose problems in multiple phases of the fight, both standing and on the ground, making him a more formidable opponent than his underdog status might suggest.
The last few fights that he had, the people on his resume, it's insane. Jack Della Maddalena, Renato Moicano, granted on a day's notice, and he made it look easy, got it done in just 4 minutes. Before that, Dustin Poirier submitted him. Alexander Volkanovski 2 times in a row. Charles Oliveira, Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Thiago Moises. When Thiago Moises was the real deal, when he was a contender, when he was coming up and he was very, very hungry. So as I say, he's on a run. The record of Islam Makhachev is 28 wins and 1 loss with 18 stoppages. And of course, if he can get a hold of Ian Garry and take him down, yeah, it's probably gonna be.
That concludes our in-depth analysis of the upcoming matchup between Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry at UFC 330. The bout pits Makhachev's well-rounded skill set against Garry's size, reach, and strategic fighting style, setting the stage for a compelling clash with significant implications for the welterweight division. As the stakes are high, this fight has all the makings of an intriguing strategic battle. Islam Makhachev's reputation as one of the most complete fighters in the UFC will be put to the test. We're eager to hear your thoughts on this matchup and the rest of the card. What are your predictions for the fight, and how do you think it will unfold?